I just really want to thank you for the opportunity to be able to share with you about literacy. My story about literacy really starts at 10. At 10 years old, I was really not able to read, not a word, not an it, not a thee, not an and. And at that time, not being able to read just really was a dark place. Here I am, I'm 10 years old. I was actually made it up through the third grade before they caught it. And then they said, well, you know, he's mentally challenged. And so they sent me to the school for the mentally challenged in Waco. And I spent about 6 weeks there, and they said, you know, well, because he didn't do well on his IQ test for a third grader, then we're going to have to test him again. And they tested me verbally, and it came out that, well, he's quite intelligent. He just can't read. And so he's intelligent enough. So what we're going to do is we're going to send him back into the regular classroom and tell the teacher, please motivate him to read. What she did is she used a little bit of shaming, a little bit of embarrassment. She sat me on a stool and had me read a first grade reader to a fourth grade class because they had promoted me by then into the fourth grade. Into that, it would turn out something like this. I would say, you know, I can't read the word, and then she would say thee, and then I would be stuck on the next word, cat, and she would read it, cat, and I would say cat, ran, down, thee, street. Totally embarrassed, totally shamed, totally a feeling of hopelessness. I'm just a kid. I remember when they put me on that short bus, I thought, these are my people. This is who I am. I'll never be anything or be able to do anything in my life because I can't read. I know I'm different. Maybe I'm not worthy. But I had someone in a Sunday school class, my Sunday school teacher in third grade, Mrs. Summers, there at First Baptist Church, Waco. She met me every day when I would come to Sunday school. And she would say, Paul, I don't know why you can't read, but I do know this: Jesus loves you and has a purpose for your life. One day, as I was getting to have to promote, we were heading up on the fifth grade year, and I was having to promote out of that. I said, I can't do it anymore. I can't continue. I can't go on. And with tears in her eyes, she said, but Paul, you don't need me. You need Jesus. And I shoved her and said, but you don't understand. You don't understand the hopelessness that I have. She hugged me and she said, but you need to give your life to Christ because He understands. I did, and then the journey that ensued, I had a group of educators who rallied around Mrs. Summers, and they talked to my parents and told my parents how to deal with the school and that I needed special education and I needed to be a part of a special program. And Waco didn't have that at that time, but since she worked at Baylor, her husband was a Baylor professor, she started making a difference and coaching my parents and where they should go and what they should do. And you know what happened? Not only did I give my life to Christ and had a new perspective on life, but I was part of a pilot project to read for dyslexics. I was the one chosen boy, and there was one chosen girl who was part of a research project at Baylor through the public school. And I learned to read. Not great at first, not easy at first, but I started learning new ways of looking at words. And I unpacked that, and because of First, a teacher who made a difference, who then got me in connection with another teacher, with another school, with another donor, with someone else. I, one child, got to learn to read. Tell you a little bit about my journey with this. My journey continued on. By the time I did my 2 years of special education, 5th and 6th grade, by the time I finished that, I'm off, and I'm to junior high, and I'm mainstreamed back in. No 504, no special anything, just the ability to be able to finally unpack the words and a little bit of tenacity. By the time I graduated high school, I graduated in the middle of my high school class. But I was able to read at least an 8th grade level. Then when I went to college and it got hard again, I had to suck it up and spend the hours that it took to be able to get through college. But you know, at that space, God called me into the ministry. I remember when my dad said, "Paul, don't tempt God because you can't go through seminary. You can't get through college." But God had called me to do that. So I stepped into my next educational journey, and Mary Hardin Baylor was where I chose to go to school, and it was the place God had for me. For you see, there at Mary Hardin Baylor, there was a man who made a difference and said he would tutor me and help me get off of academic probation. I was actually brought into Mary Hardin Baylor on academic probation, and he was the registrar. Another educator showed up to help a single person. God showed up again. His name was Charlie Robinson, and Charlie helped me get through that first semester and off of academic probation. And it wasn't easy, but I continued to try and continued to move forward and continue to read better. And I graduated from Mary Hardin Baylor on the dean's list because of my last year in college, straight A's. Wow. God had truly showed up. I went to seminary, and there you had to do a whole lot of reading. But God showed up again, and not in the form of people, but in the application of the things that other educators had taught me to do that I continue to apply through my life. Flashcards. I was doing 1,500 flashcards every day so that I could read better because that's the tools that they had given me. I got through seminary and became a missionary, and my life's journey had continued. And just a couple of years ago, God gave me the opportunity to start on my PhD. And right now, I am just a couple of semesters away from a PhD in organizational leadership from Regent University. What an opportunity God has given from space to space to space. Literacy. It's never too late. It's never too hard. It's always worth it. I would challenge every educator, every person that believes in literacy. I would challenge you to do whatever it takes to take the least of these children who you may never be able to sit under the shade tree, just like Mrs. Summers never got to see who I became. But she was a critical component, a critical piece of how God could use her to make a difference in me, and I can pay it forward to maybe make a difference in some other child. For literacy is the key. Jesus works in people's lives to give hope. He can work in yours too. Thank you for this opportunity to tell my simple story about what God has done for me. May you be blessed. Thank you.